Only 8 games on a Thursday around Major League Baseball, but the beautiful thing about Friday in the Bigs, the weekend sets begin, and we break them down for you here with a full Friday card around MLB. The Astros were not swept by the Seattle Mariners in a 4-game divisional duel this week up in the Pacific Northwest. They won the finale, the 4th and final game. The Twins won 3 of 4 against their divisional foe, that being the Kansas City Royals, at home in Minneapolis. Now we go to Houston, where the Astros host the Twins in game number 1 of this weekend series. Is this Ronel Blanco's first start since he was ejected for the sticky stuff for a foreign substance? I believe it is, right?
No.
Second
I don't think
back
it is.
from that ejection. Second start back from that ejection. Either way, Ronel Blanco on the bump tonight, who has been great this year for whatever reason. Minus 112 now, working slightly in Houston's favor, but a virtual pick-em with a total of 8. What happens tonight in Houston?
You know what's interesting about this game, Ben? You take a look at it and say to yourself, okay, Houston is at home, picked up a win yesterday. They should be competitive, right? But Minnesota is a decent ball club this year. You see that pick 'em and you say, well, if I'm just looking at frontline starting pitching, who, Blanco, not really a frontline guy. Pablo Lopez really is. But how about this? Let's take a look at his numbers, and let's just look at the last 30 days just based on his ISO power number weighted on base percentages. He's a very good pitcher, but he's leaking some oil. A 198 ISO and a 351 weighted on base percentage. Lefties, including Kyle Tucker, who's in that lineup with an incredible ISO power number, is a 224 and a 365 weighted on base percentage. So you really should be able to club him. But here's the interesting part, Ben, about the analytical approach that does come in. Take a look at those last 30 days. A 26% strikeout rate, which is very good. A walk rate of only 2.4. But how about this? If you're saying, all right, how does this equate to what we think he can do today? His road splits this year. Take a look at this. His ERA on the road, Ben, is a 6. That's unbelievably bad. And you're playing in a small ballpark. But check this out. His xFIP number on the road, 2.77. So something has to give. Is it what we've seen with the ERA or the analytical numbers telling us he's actually been pitching really well, just getting unlucky? That's what you have to filter in. So if anybody out there saying, I don't understand why Pablo Lopez has this price point, which is only a pick 'em, he's by far and away the more dominant pitcher. He actually hasn't shown that based on ERA, but he's due to have one of those games where he could be dominant. His xFIP is telling you that on the road. This is a really interesting matchup on what you trust, the analytical numbers or what those numbers are actually showing you on the field here, Ben.
A divisional duel begins today in Camden between the Orioles and the Rays. Tampa, a game below 500. Baltimore, third best record in the AL, second best in the AL East, only behind the Yankees, 35 and 19. Minus 148 for the O's as the home favorites tonight against the Rays. Will the numbers back things up for a Baltimore victory?
Baltimore should be able to win this game. Let's take a look at Savali, who over the last 30 days, Ben, 106 batters he's faced. How about a 234 ISO and a 366 weighted on base percentage? This guy on the top of that lineup today for the Orioles. Yeah, his name's Gunnar Henderson, a 333 ISO and a 373 ISO power number against right-handed pitchers over the past 30 days. That fits right into that wheelhouse and maybe a great home run chance here. But also, when you look at Savali's statistics here, he is a pitcher that is going to be on the road. His splits also similar to what we just saw from Pablo Lopez, where you're trying to factor in his ISO power numbers and his weighted on base percentages, but filter them through an xFIP number. If you're just looking at what you've done for me lately, it hasn't been good on the field, but he actually is getting a little bit unlucky like Lopez here, where his numbers for his xFIP are much, much better than, let's just say, what he should be doing ERA-wise. But also, which lineup are you trusting more here? A lineup that can really get after it with the Baltimore Orioles or a pitcher like Savali? I understand that high number here, and I do think that I'm probably trusting what I see a little bit more, which means Gunnar Henderson, a legitimate chance to hit a home run. Anthony Santander, a 226 ISO going up against right-handed pitching. Savali has struggled too much for me to trust that dog price with Tampa Bay, so I would go towards Baltimore with that number.
Plus 400 for Gunnar Henderson to hit a home run. Gunnar Henderson has 18 of them this year, tied for the most in MLB alongside Aaron Judge and Kyle Tucker. Now we go to Fenway. The Red Sox a pretty hefty favorite today because Tanner Houck is on the bump, and he has been great for the Sox this year. Does that continue for Boston tonight?
Yeah, by the way, Kenta Maeda, just take a look at some of those early splits that we have. He's got some terrible numbers against lefties. Take a look at this. On the road, which he is, Ben, weighted on base percentage, 576 to lefties. You take a look at that XFIP number, 7.28. Take a look at the numbers tonight. Duran, Abreu, and Devers, a must-have on your card tonight for RBI chances against Maeda, one of the worst pitchers on the card.